Hello guys, it's the Darkslayeress. Like any good Darkslayer, I have been missing in action for quite a while. I will not be creating regular videos on this channel due to the fact that I have my own business. Yes, I was inspired by Dante a long time ago to have my own business. I finally decided to choose a path and pursue it with all of the motivation of a Darkslayer, and I decided to become a gothic professional mermaid. I have a weekly YouTube channel that has almost 11,000 subscribers. You can click here to see it. It's called The Magic Crafter. It's a bunch of crafts, mermaid videos, gothic videos, different sorts of tutorials, yada yada yada. Hope you'll like it. But you are not here to know about mermaids, you are here to learn how to make Dante or Virgil's amulet from Devil May Cry. This here is Dante's, in case you didn't know. This is Virgil's. These are simplified miniature versions of the amulet. I have a full-size version of Virgil's amulet here that I made a few years ago. These ones are miniature, much more ideal for wearing every day. I wear mine almost every day, and I love them. I will now tell you what materials to grab, and then we'll get started on making this Devil May Cry cosplay prop. Here we go. To create a miniature replica of Dante or Virgil's amulet from Devil May Cry, the original series, not the one nobody likes, you will not need a rusty key. However, you will need a lot of other things. You will need some silver wire. I'm using one that I believe is about 28 millimeters. Just make sure it's kind of sturdy but not too hard so that it's difficult to work with. You will need wire cutters, these wire plier squeezy things for moving your wire and manipulating it. And you will need this weird wire tool thing that has these different circles on it so you can make circular loops. Don't worry, this isn't as hard as it looks. You will need this wire squishing tool thing that flattens out wire. These things are kind of optional. You can make do with other things, but this is what I have found works best. You will need a jewelry chain of some sort. This one's way too short for a necklace, but it's all I've got. So I'm probably not going to add a chain to my amulet today, but I'll show you what it looks like. Obviously, if you're making a full-size amulet, you need a thicker, bigger one, but this one is ideal for your miniature amulet because the miniature amulets you can wear every day, whereas regular size ones will give you the neck of a pit bull. Optional but quite handy. You may want some clay sculpting tools. We will be working with clay. You will also need a blood red colored glass thing. These are like the glass things that people use to fill vases for like flower arrangements and that sort of thing, but we're obviously using it for devilish things. To add on to the list, you will need some aluminum foil, you will need some super sculpey clay, and you will also need Sculpey 3 clay in silver or gold, depending on whose amulet you're making. Lastly, you will need some crafting paint. This is a multi-surface crafting paint by Martha Stewart. She obviously is not sponsoring this video. I do not think she would sponsor this video, but this paint is the kind I use for a good reason. It stays on and it does not come off. I wear this when I'm mermaiding. I swim through all sorts of water. I go through chlorine, I go through fresh water, I scrape it on rocks, zebra mussels. This stuff is indestructible. So make sure to use the right type of paint. Oh, and you will need an oven, so make sure you have one of those. A microwave will not do. Let's get started with this stylish tutorial. First thing you need to do is take some of your wire, use silver for Dante, gold for Virgil, cut about 5 inches of the wire. You can do more, you can do less, it just depends on what you want. I would start with 5. Next, take the 2 ends of the wire and line them up. They don't need to be perfect, just line them up like this. Now take your circular metal manipulating tool thingy and wrap around the smallest setting like this, so you have like a teardrop shape. The devils never cry, so it's not a teardrop. And now twist a couple of times like this. This is going to be the base for our amulet. These are going to be the loops for our amulet so that the chain can go through the amulet without having to depend on the clay to hold it up. Now bend each piece of the wire out so you have like a T shape. About a 1/2 centimeter up Bend the wire at a 90-degree angle. Do that on both sides, like this. Now take your weird tool thing again, grab one side of this wire and wrap it over your circular loop thing. And then twist it around the 90-degree bend thingy. There's a lot of thingies involved in this, make sure you're ready. Do that to the other side. My big fat fingers are probably going to get in the way of this step, but take these little extra pieces that are hanging off of your wire structure and just kind of put them in their place. So I'm going to bend them down and wrap them back around this base part, just so they're out of the way and not poking out of my amulet. You can use some of your other tools, such as this thingy here, to help you in making very neat and tidy looking loops, but I really don't care because it's going to rain and I'm being eaten alive by mosquitoes, so we're just going to get this done. Once you have a Mickey Mouse looking shape with a really long droopy nose, take this thing and squish the sharp ends of the wire down so that they're not poking out of your amulet later on, because that would be tragic. Now straighten up the loops on your amulet. You want them to have the circle parts kind of facing each other like this, because that's how Dante and Virgil's amulets are. Boom! You are now down at the base of your amulet. Now we go on to the easy part. We're now going to set aside our metal base and squish the mosquito on our hand, and then take your two pieces of clay. They don't need to be a certain ratio. Remember, this one is super sculpey and this one is sculpey 3 in the color silver or gold, depending on whose amulet you're creating. I kind of do a half and half ratio. Sometimes I'll do more super sculpey. It doesn't really matter. Super sculpey just reinforces the structure. I want you to mix these together. Boom! It is mixed. Here comes the fun part. Take a little bit of aluminum foil, not too much, but a good amount, and rip it off your other piece of aluminum foil. Take that and wrap it around the base of your amulet, and you want this to end up being a squarish, circly thing that's about the same circumference as this little glass piece. Press it down so that it is compact. You don't want it to be too thick or you'll have a hard time covering it with your clay. Okay, so this is going to end up going on top of this. See how it sparkles really nice? It looks amazing and adds depth. Oh my gosh, I love the way that looks, and it catches the light so perfectly, and it's so devilishly magical. Take a chunk of your clay and flatten it out. You want it to be a little bit bigger than this piece of aluminum foil. Don't make it too thin. Stick it underneath your aluminum foil and press it down. Kill the mosquito. I now want you to take your stone and stick it on top of your aluminum piece. Hold it in place and pull up on the clay. We're going to secure it in here. Alright, so once this gem is secured somewhat, we are going to take some more of our clay, not too big of a piece, and roll it out into a snake-like structure. Take your snake-like structure and wrap it around the outside of your amulet's gem. Since Dante and Virgil's amulets are more oblong as opposed to circular, feel free to kind of make an oval like that. Now you can either take your fingers with fingernails cut and smooth out the clay, or you can use a tool to kind of smooth it out. I'm sure this isn't how this tool is supposed to be used, but it's how I use it, so you can just get over it. Now take some more clay and cover up the majority of the metal exposed on your piece. You just want these little ear things to be sticking out. Now, using your best judgment, determine whether or not you need to move your amulet up a bit. Mine definitely needs to go up a bit, like this, and it needs a little bit less down here. So adjust accordingly. I'm doing this right before a rainstorm, so I am rushing. Make sure you take your time. This should be a process of love. Now try to round out your amulet somewhat so that it's not super lumpy in one specific area, These are demonic pieces, so they are supposed to look somewhat kind of messy, I do believe. Again, this isn't an exact replica of their amulet because there's so many different depictions of them, but it's how I think they would look, kind of. A simplified version because this is a miniature. I'm going to be using my other amulet of Dante's as a reference here. As you can see, there's kind of like a wavy pattern around the outside of the gem. And then there's like this weird sort of pointy chin thing right here. And then the base of the amulet is also kind of wavy, but it's not quite as extreme as up here. So we will be taking some more of our clay, and we're going to start by making this chin and part of these waves. So grab some more of your clay and roll it out into a thicker snake. I have a little snake shape here. I'm going to bring the ends together and I'm going to pinch it right here. And then, keeping this as a sort of exaggerated chin look, I'm going to press it right underneath my red gem. Make sure it's as centered as possible. And then I'm going to follow this sort of pattern that's on this amulet. So it kind of waves out like this. So there should be a little bump right here. And then it dips in. And there's another bump right here. So I'm going to kind of press it with my fingers to form that. And we'll go back and adjust, of course. And do this on the other side as well. A little bump on this side, and a little bit on the middle, and then a bump back on the outside. And then you can create the last bump at the very top. Depending on how much clay you have, you can either fold that over, or you can add another little bump with a separate piece of clay. Just create another little bump here, as you see right here. Now we are going to take our fingers and try to blend any seams in. Tools for clay may work better for this. I do everything with my fingers for crafts. I don't like to use many tools, but sometimes they are handy. There's a time and a place for everything. For tools, I do like to take one of these weird, like, smoothie, outy, pointy thingies and just kind of bring the clay in towards the center here. If that makes any sense whatsoever. Just to eliminate that crease. And then I take a medium-sized ball thingy and I kind of just smooth it, that, and then go in with my finger. But my fingers are kind of chunky, so they don't fit in there. Take your fingernail or something else that works well for you and round out the inside area. Oh my gosh, the rain is coming. I'm going to get poured on. This is not good. Look at the side of your amulet now. You'll see there is a bold seam right here. You can take a tool or your finger and blend it in with the other side of your amulet. I'm getting rained on in a second now, so I have to really hurry this up. But go around and smooth out your amulet as best as possible. Try to eliminate any wrinkles or seams. Also, go to the bottom part right here. As you can see on this amulet, there's kind of like a groove. The amulet goes from this bubbly, wavy thing to a little dip, and then it comes back out slightly. Not as far out as the top of the amulet, but it comes out slightly. Do that with this one too. So if you need to, you can kind of take your thumb between your index finger and your thumb. Index finger here, thumb here. Press, press, press. Press, press, press. And try to make sure that both sides of your amulet are pretty similar. So create an oval here, smooth out any seams, and fill in any metal pieces with the exception of these bunny ear things. Because Virgil needs some love too, here's my Virgil amulet to put next to these other two. Anyways, I hope you took some time smoothing out the wrinkles, creating a nice oval shape, and making sure that everything is secure on your amulet. Remember, this is a labor of love. This is Devil May Cry, not DMC. Take your time on it. Something I forgot to do and forgot to mention was that you should have a nice flat space between your two bunny ear things. I haven't done that yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Much better. This part gets really weird, but just hang in there. take another piece of aluminum foil and bunch it up so that it's not super compact, but it's like kind of messy and pointy in certain areas. And we are going to go ahead and just kind of take the aluminum foil and press it into our amulet. This gives it some character. I'm going to exaggerate the chin thing on mine a little more because I realize it's not as exaggerated as I'd like it to be. Make sure you have yours how you like it before you bake it. Alright, now pause this video and let me know if you are making Dante's amulet or Virgil's amulet, or if you came from my other YouTube channel just to see what this video is all about. Please let me know in the comments. Let me know where you stand, because I want to know if you are a devil hunter or a Darkslayer, because that, my friend, is some very important information to know about a person. Now, if you'd like to, you can flip over your amulet and carefully etch into the back Virgil and Dante to make it a little more authentic. I did that with my other two. I wrote in Elder Furthark because that's how I roll, but you can feel free to do what you would like there. If you are going to write Virgil and Dante on the back, I highly suggest that you get stencils or stamps to do so. Personally, my handwriting sucks. When you are satisfied with the look of your perfect amulet, take it to the oven, which should be set at 275, and bake it for approximately 15 minutes, depending on how much clay you used. You may want to do more or less. It's always good to start with a little bit less, and then I usually cook it into the point of it browning a little bit, but I probably shouldn't do that. Just bake it and try to bake it well. Follow the package instructions on your clay. After your amulet has been baked in its own fiery hell, we are now going to paint the amulet. Mine got burnt a little bit, which is okay because we will be covering it in black paint. Again, I'm using Martha Stewart's multi-surface crafting paint. This stuff is extremely durable. You can use a sponge for this if you like, but I am a finger painter, so I'm going to finger paint. You don't need to worry about covering the entire piece in the black paint, just the crevices primarily. If you're impatient like me and this paint is taking too long to dry, take a paper towel, take your amulet, and just rub off the top layer of the black paint. It should still stay in the crevices, and this will let the paint dry a little faster. After that layer is mostly dry, well, entirely dry, but if you're impatient, mostly dry will do, take this metallic silver paint called Sterling, again by Martha Stewart Crafts. It's a multi-surface paint, really good stuff. Stick it on your piece of wax paper and take your finger or your brush, get a little bit of it and rub it on the wax paper like this. So it's a very thin layer. Now take a bunched up piece of paper towel, or you can use your finger, which I think I will not do because my hands are black. Take a little bit of this, rub it on the wax paper, and then lightly swipe it on your amulet like so. Once the first layer of silver paint is mostly dry, you can either keep it the way it is, or if you would like a few brighter silver accents, you can take your finger, wipe it in your wax paper really good, so there's just a tiny bit on your finger, and just dab it onto your amulet, and then swipe it with another finger to wipe it off if it's too much. So my camera cut me off, but for this next step of creating your Devil May Cry amulet, what you need to do is grab your metal chain, grab your jewelry tools. I'm using these tweezer things here and this flattening piece here. Take this piece here and shove it through the end piece of one of your chains. My chain is much too small to actually make an amulet right now, so I have to buy more chain, but I'm going to show you this anyways. Push it on to this piece here and then force it to open. You should have an opening here. Put it on one side of your amulet and then take this tool here and close it up. Make sure to do that to both sides, obviously. That is how you make Virgil or Dante's half of the perfect amulet from the Devil May Cry video game series. You can wear this for cosplay costumes, or you can just do what I do and wear one of them every single day just because you are a fan. If you like this video, please share it with your friends, and please check out my other YouTube channel, The Magic Crafter. I have some gothic tutorials there, and also some videos that I think are better than the videos on this channel. However, I may be posting some more Devil May Cry videos to this channel here, the Darkslayeress, in the future. Not really sure, but if you have any suggestions, please let me know what they are in the comment section, and I'll be sure to reply. Thank you so much for watching. Have a super smokin' sick stylish day. Catch you later.